Ma'am, this is the first time in 18 years that PLDT has returned to the bond market, the U.S. bond market. We're getting the reports. Seems to be very, very successful. $600 million oversubscribed. More than $10 billion. No, more than 70 times oversubscribed. Ma'am, before we get into the details of why you went back, why PLDT went back to the bond market, what does this mean for PLDT? And more importantly, what does this mean for investors' perception of the Philippines?
Yeah, Robbie, we are, of course, extremely pleased with the results that we got and the overwhelming support and interest from the investor community. As you know, this was really pretty much sold to the international market. And therefore, it's a vote of confidence, not just in PLDT, but also in the prospects of our country.
Yeah, of course. I mean, we're asking this because obviously we're in the middle of a crisis, a global crisis. PLDT, in fact, I mean, your capex was slashed by, I mean, I think down to a third for capex. You did go into this partly to refinance maturing loans for this year and next, but also for capex. Give us an idea on the capital expenditure side. What are you going to use this money for?
So, Robbie, to clarify lang, we originally had a budget of 83 billion for the year. And the reason why it's reduced by 20 to 25% is because of the constraints put on us during this ECQ periods, right? Where our people are unable to go out and roll out and do the installation just simply because of the lockdown restrictions, as well as some of the supply chain issues. Having said that, we are trying to reinstate things back to close to normal situation, and our focus really is to develop more our infrastructure to serve the growing data demand for people. So we all know everybody's been at home, working from home, studying from home. So the availability of their data connection is even more important during this period. So we are really committed to serve that requirement, be it for individuals, homes, enterprises, even schools and other communities.
Ma'am Anabelle, for those of us who are not very conversant on bonds and issuance of bonds, what is the most remarkable thing about this latest issuance of bonds by a company?
Well, we're extremely proud because we achieved several milestones with this. First, 30-year issue by a non-government entity from the Philippines. So we were able to issue for 30 years. Second, it's a very low coupon, which is effectively low cost for us, but record low coupons in terms of the rate we achieve. And then the
by 17 interest rates, right?
Interest rate. So it's the lowest ever coupon for a 10-year and 30-year issuance by a Philippine corporate. And also, of course, the overwhelming demand that there were 10.2 billion of orders vis-a-vis the 600 million size of the issue.
And what influenced these figures? What were the primary basis for setting the figures, the tenure, the tenor, the coupon?
So first of all, from a PLDT perspective, we were looking at diversifying our funding source. We have been accessing the local bank market for the last couple of years. So we thought it was a good time to go out to the international market. And as we said earlier, it's been 18 years since we did that. We saw that U.S. Treasury rates and interest rates were at historic low levels. So that was an attractive option for us. So then secondly, people look at what is called a credit rating, right? So for PLDT, we have maintained credit ratings with S&P and Moody's, and we have been rated investment grade, similar to the sovereign. So that was another factor that influenced the investors. Third is, of course, we felt that we had a good story to tell. So even as everybody is very concerned about the pandemic, we felt that the business remained to be a very critical business, and that there were many developments where we were able to respond to the needs of that time. So So basically, at the end, in terms of a process, they start by asking people to listen to us, our story, and this was all done digitally. And one day of our non-DR investor meetings and presentations, which were all delivered via Zoom. In the past, you would fly to Hong Kong, Singapore, London, but in this case,
Yeah.
we were able to do all these meetings virtually. So after hearing our story, then we gave the following day an indication of how much we were prepared to pay. So there's an initial price guidance that was given in the morning, but after like 45 minutes, we received a lot of interest by way of orders that were being placed in Asia, and Europe had not yet opened. So during the course of the day, we agreed that we could try to test the pricing by even tightening what we were offering, and the order book just continued to grow. So we were extremely proud of how the interest in an issuer like ourselves and from the Philippines has been received so well
Yeah.
by the international community.
Do you think that this will
Ma'am,
trailblaze the way for other corporations in the Philippines?
Yeah, of course, there have been all these very stellar names from the Philippines who have accessed the markets over the couple of years, right? ICTSI just did a deal actually last week. And then there is another issuer that is in the market as we speak. And I think there are other people or other corporates lined up to go as well. So I think it's also the attractive market conditions. And so hopefully that milieu continues in the next few weeks or months for everybody.
How do all of these things translate to shareholders, to people who have interest in PLDT?
Yeah, for our shareholders, this is also something that I'm sure they appreciate, that we are able to refinance at quite attractive interest rates. So that gives us the opportunity to lower our interest costs and therefore increase our profits and dividends, hopefully for shareholders as well. But at the end of the day, I think we're quite focused on investing behind the business so that we are able to serve the increasing data requirements of our countrymen.